Hello! So recently I tried recording my June wrap up and I really liked it, but then I was missing 2 books and my battery had cut out. Stuff was missing whenever I went to import it to edit it, and I just thought, let's not upload it. But since it's now July, I thought I could do a little rundown of my top 5 books that I've read so far in 2015. Now, as we all know, I had set myself a 50 book challenge and I'm currently sitting on having read 14 books, which, if you're even slightly good at maths, which I'm not, you will know I'm not halfway through my challenge, and it's at the halfway point of the year. Once again, Tasha sets herself unachievable challenges. But anyway, I will still run down my top 5 that I have read so far, and if you would like to see everything else that I have read this year, because I know I haven't been great with wrap-ups, academic reading got in the way, but if you want to see what I've read so far, you can go over to my Goodreads account and it will be in my 2015 challenge list. So the first book that I'm going to mention for a favourite so far for 2015 is Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and illustrated by Fiona Staples. I think that's the right way round. I have talked about this video before, and like I said at that time, it is kind of like Romeo and Juliet in space. Who thought that that was a combination that could go together? A sci-fi Romeo and Juliet. But basically it is about these 2 different civilizations who are at war with each other, but these 2 went and did the unthinkable thing of having a baby, and ultimately that is going to have consequences, as you could imagine in any form of war-torn society, and they have to escape from persecution and that sort of challenges that having an interspecies relationship in a war-torn society and a difficult love match, forbidden love, would ensue. This is very mature, as I have mentioned before. I, however, am not here to put age restrictions on certain things. You know yourself what you feel comfortable about reading, not reading, but this is quite sexually explicit. There is quite crude and vulgar language, bad language. So if you think it's something that you wouldn't feel comfortable with, then, you know, perhaps give it a few years, or not at all if it's not going to be your thing. That's completely cool. Your choices, guys. So next on my top 5 favourites, and again I have mentioned this before, is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This is technically a dystopian novel. Technically, because of this book, lots of people call Margaret Atwood the mother of the dystopian genre, and I completely agree with this. The thing about this book is it's one of those books that's so subtle, so silent, and so realistic that is ultimately what makes it so effective, so impacting and completely horrifying. It's definitely not a fast-paced book, it is a slow burner, but it's that slow and impending fate is what hooks you and what makes it truly terrifying. That and its realistic setting. And if you have not read any Margaret Atwood, and if you want to kind of give a go into the original forebearers of the dystopian genre, highly recommend. Definitely 5 out of 5 stars. This next book is going to be absolutely no surprise. It is Wicked by Gregory Maguire, because life is not so simply delineated into good and evil. It is multi-layered, it is complex, it is multicoloured, and if it was to be black and white, it would be so boring. On every level, this book is human, it is real, and it is beautiful. Read it! It is such a clever examination of looking at those who hold position of power and how those who hold power are those that are able to be masters of deception of perception, and how media plays an important role in propaganda, and ultimately it's the strongest form of propaganda in any situation that is going to affect a person's opinion about a situation or a person, and this book represents that so beautifully. I will link my video down below. Go check it out. This book is so important and it's so beautiful and I love it. Read it. The next book, which I'm both happy to say I've finally read and also kind of sad that it took me this long to be introduced into this glorious master of words works, is Mort by Terry Pratchett. I had never read a Terry Pratchett before this book, and oh my gosh, that is such a crying shame. I'm so sad that it's took to now after his death for me to be introduced into the glorious Discworld, but this book was absolutely fantastic. It is about a young boy called Mort who isn't necessarily particularly skilled or talented, yet somehow finds himself becoming Death's apprentice. And you can imagine the sort of difficulties and the interesting duties that a job such as Death could entail. It is fantastic, it is beautifully written, but it's so humorous, it is so funny, and it really captivated me, and I read it so fast. The Discworld is such a complex world, but it's built so beautifully, and everything is so perfectly distinguished from each other, yet it doesn't become muddled and confusing. It is beautiful, it is perfect, and I'm so glad that I have the entirety of Terry Pratchett's work still to read, and I'm excited for my next Discworld adventure. And finally, a book that I technically read in July, but we're going to include it because we all know I'm obsessed, is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I love this book so much. I love dinosaurs so much, but this is so funny, witty, intelligent, well researched. I can assume, I don't actually know, but I know he worked within scientific field before he wrote novels, but it's amazing. It's so very different from the movies because some of the fates turn out extremely different, but it was so interesting to be completely immersed into the Isle of Nublar and just experience dinosaurs, and almost like I was a part of this team, and it's smart and it's clever, but it's so funny, and it's definitely different from the films, though you can see where elements cross over, and even in itself that was kind of amazing, and it just felt so nostalgic, and I love it. I love dinosaurs. So they were my top 5 books so far of 2015. Hopefully over the next 3 months before I have to go back to uni, I will catch up on my reading and we will make the 50 book challenge. Let's do this, people. Let me know down in the comments below what is your favourite book so far of 2015, and as always all my links to my other social media will be listed down below. And if you like this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you have not already, please do subscribe. Join our family, you'll be most warmly welcome, and until the next video guys, bye. Look at my new shirt. It's so clashy, it disgusts me, I love it. Today I come to you with a rather interesting theory, and that theory is that Santa Claus created dinosaurs.